Hi, this is Christine Tulley, President and Senior Writing Coach at Defend and Publish, and welcome to episode 55, Set Yourself Up for Success. At the time I'm recording this episode, it is the beginning of the second week in January of 2022, and the first day of official class back at my university. So the first day of school for the spring, if we want to think about it that way. And I decided I wanted to do this episode because I was thinking that in the 20 years that I've had this career, I have never had such a successful Monday start to a semester. And I couldn't even remember the last time that any of this has ever happened. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what it might mean and how it happened, because I think it'll give us some ideas about how to set yourself up for success if some of these strategies are helpful for you. So I have been the type of person that every semester we have to turn in our syllabi, we have to turn in some various forms about our workloads and our teaching schedules and all these other things. And I am always the last person or one of the last people in my department to get that stuff in. I know I had mentioned on other podcast episodes, I'm one of the people that likes to write. I always prioritize writing, and I'm just having a good time doing it. One of the reasons why I'm running Defend and Publish. And so a lot of those sorts of things, like the forms and all the stuff to start the semester up, a lot of times I will let it slide to the last possible second. So this extends certainly into my children's lives. I'm always, one of the last parents to turn in the permission slip for the field trip and some of these other things. And so this New Year's, I don't often make New Year's resolutions, but I decided that I wanted to have a little bit less scrambling this year than I normally have, because I certainly get frazzled and kind of just, overwhelmed when I have a lot of these like extra things dangling over me that I didn't do. And so I decided to just be sort of the opposite of me and set myself up for success. And I have to say that my first 24 hours of this experiment has gone fairly well. And so I wanted to walk through a couple of things that I did that I think will hopefully make the semester go a little bit more smoothly. One of the things that I've been a little bit lazy about is that I always start my classes on Tuesdays, not Mondays. And so I usually don't have everything ready to go for the first day of class on the first Monday of the semester, because I know I have the extra 24 hours of wiggle room. And so some of you with that same sort of schedule may be laughing because you did the same thing. But technically, I'm supposed to turn in my syllabus and other things I need to have. I need to post them, of course, in the course management space, and just be ready for the first day, which in my mind means 8 a.m. on the Monday at the first work day. And so I decided I was going to just try my hardest to get all of those things completed. And so I really pushed yesterday, which would have been the Sunday, to get my syllabus posted, get those forms done, get all of those things together. And I just really, really pushed on that Sunday. Ordinarily, I would have said, I still got time on Monday. It's okay. But I really tried to make that concentrated effort to do that. And then I also did a couple of other things to set myself up for success for the semester. Another thing that I did on purpose was wake up an hour earlier. So for me, that meant 5 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. And for non-early risers, I get it. I am more of an afternoon person than anything. I'm not a morning person, but I did it today because what I wanted to do during that extra hour was get my planner together. And I will show you that in a second. Where I really just looked at my entire week, looked at my obligations, whatever meetings I had today, where did I need to be, had I figured out, where all my children are going and what it is that they're needing to do. My husband and I both have, some friends that are coming to visit. I needed to make sure I had stuff arranged for that. It's my dad's 80th birthday this weekend. I had to arrange for that. So what I just did was I basically called this hour sort of getting a grip, and really looking through my planner and figuring out what it is I'm going to do. I made sure, all the Zoom meetings I had this week, I had all the information up on my calendar. Everything is in both a hard physical planner, which I'll show in a minute, and then also on my Zoom. And that was even before anybody else in the house was up. So I could be reasonably sure by the time I was waking up any children to go to school and before I had to go to work myself, that I could figure out, or that I had a reasonable grip on what was happening this week. And then I noticed that just having that all planned out was very helpful, because then I also knew, for example, that I was recording this podcast today. So I remembered to throw my podcast microphone into my laptop bag, and things like, little things like that, that ordinarily I would just sort of be scrambling to do. I would realize, oh, I don't have that. I have to go back home and go do that. And unfortunately, I don't live that far away from work that I could do it. But of course, it's a waste of gas and energy and all that. And so, just really thinking ahead of time about what it is that I needed to be doing, very useful to me. So there's a couple of strategies and kind of schools of thought about that. I want to show you a few things that have helped me with a little bit of a caveat. So I'm going to do a little screen sharing here today. So one of the things that I like is a planner by somebody called Rachel Hollis. I'm going to switch tabs here if I'm able to do that. Yes, okay. It is called the Priority Planner from Rachel Hollis. I know she has a whole company and she has a book, and it's a book about girls stop washing your face or start washing your face or whatever it is. But a friend of mine, a little shout out to Megan Adams, turned me on to this planner, and she actually gave me a copy of one of them because she thought I would really like it. And I do. I'm on probably my sixth one of these. It's a pretty cheap planner, $22.99, at least at this moment. You can see the link. I'll put a link in the show notes. And I think any planner would probably work for this purpose, depending on what it is that you want it to do. But why I liked this one is I have realized that putting all my obligations in my calendar, my digital calendar on my phone, is just not working for me. My brain does not remember them. I'm happy to have them in there. So for example, if I have a meeting at 2:00 on Tuesday, I know I can go on my online calendar and go get that Zoom link or get the room number where I'm supposed to be. But for me to actually remember that and retain that in my head with everything else going on, I really need a physical planner. And I really like the idea of writing down what's happening during the week and then making sure my online calendar matches, because I really think this has set me up for success in the past when I have good habits about it. And I'm hoping that it will do so in the future. So this Monday, I can report now, maybe halfway through my Monday, and I've met all my obligations. I've turned in every single form. I made sure I was ready for that one meeting I normally would not have been ready for. So far, so good. It's definitely been a more relaxed start to the semester. I'm ready to go to teach tomorrow night. My first class is Tuesday. So, I think a tool like this can be really useful. And I wanted to just say a few things about why I like a physical planner, what I'm getting out of it or what I'm doing. You can check out her website if you like this particular one, but I would look for a planner if you're interested in doing any kind of physical planning. I like the ones that have a month view, or at least a page for a month, and then daily pages. But I also like ones that allow you to kind of figure out what you're doing with your weeks, because I feel like with academics, we are thinking about the semester in weeks, a 16-week semester or an 8-week, fast block. And so one of the things I like about this one is that there's this weekly page where you basically set some goals for the week, and that seems to be just about the right time increment for me. So I'm going to share a screen to see, so you can see what the weekly pages look like. But I liked this planner because it had you figure out a couple of different things. And I think lots of planners will do this. So if this is not your speed, I'm sure you could find this. I'm sure there's some online planners that have this. But one of the things that I really liked about it is it basically lists 3 things that are really important that are happening that week. So this is just a screenshot from a blog of somebody that's using it. And I'll put a link to this one in the blog so you can see it. This is not an academic person, but just as 3 things that are really important that are happening through the week. So for me, for example, in this particular week, I am running a writing support group. So I needed to plan. It was a new group for January. So that was the first thing. A second thing that I had going on this week was to make sure that my class was up and running. So that was a second thing. And then the third thing is that I'm drafting forward to an edited collection. So that is the third thing that I'm working on. So I like that it only allows for 3. So that was really, really good. It also has me set up something called a morning routine. I actually since I'm not a morning person, I don't really do a lot of like all these things where people might go to the gym and have a vitamin and a glass of water and whatever else they're doing. But if that's something that appeals to you, you can make this a morning routine. But I like to think of this more as, for me, it could be an afternoon routine, an evening routine, but basically a spot where I'm just kind of like making sure I'm hitting some priorities in the day. So am I, taking 30 minutes to walk around campus or something like that? That would be something that maybe shows up on there. Am I eating a salad? That might be on there. But it also could be things like, did I, call somebody? Did I call a friend today to make sure that I talked to somebody outside of academia? Or did I read for pleasure or something like that? And then other things I like on here, the weekly results. This is sort of like what I'm hoping to get from the week, which is another reason why I like this planner. And then this five to strive box, which Rachel Hollis talks about in all her videos. I haven't watched them. I've just seen other people talk about these. But it basically is, when am I going to do the major things that are happening in the week? And it forces me to kind of pick a time when I'm going to do them. So for things like my class and for the writing workshop, I didn't have to pick a time when I was going to do them per se, meaning the event, because the event has a set time. But I certainly had to plan some time. When was I going to complete those activities? And for this upcoming week, I actually used this box right here to figure out, when am I writing this week? That's all I use it for. So if this is something that appeals to you, the planners are 3-month planners. So yeah, that means I have to get a new one every 3 months. Just as a tip, there's a ton of used ones on eBay. So if you don't want to shell out $22.99, every 3 months or something like that, or you don't see another planner, you can look at this. You can honestly look at some of these things and replicate this yourself. But if you can find any planner that has weekly, monthly, and daily pages in there, you're probably good to go. But I like the way that this is kind of getting me to think about specifically the writing. That's what we do at Defend and Publish. So certainly that's my interest in it. But I really like the idea of, when am I going to write this week? Because one of the things that I think where writing schedules or writing routines fall down is that we assume all academic weeks are the same week to week. And I'm sure many of us can vouch for the fact that no, they are not the same. So for many academic parents out there, maybe your daycare closed because of a COVID case breakthrough going through, or in the case of my school age children, both of my children have been bounced out of school to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. Whether they had COVID or not. And so it's very uncertain about what's my week going to look like. And so I like the idea of just thinking in that very small span of, 5 to 7 days, when am I going to get some work done? So, this is something that I think can be really helpful. Another tip that I have, let me hopefully be able to share this with you. There we go. And this is not a new idea about thinking about planning for the week. And so I want to credit somebody that's talked about this a lot. Carrie Ann Rockmore, she's the director of the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity. I'll put a link to that. A great organization. I've actually visited Carrie. I've been to her place in Detroit. They do amazing work there, particularly for supporting scholars of color. But she has written an article about the Sunday meeting in Inside Higher Ed. I will link to this article. And it basically talks about how to do a very strategic setup for your week. So you don't have to do this on Sunday. I find that I don't want to plan on Sunday. I'm much better early Monday morning, kind of figuring out what's happening in the week. But you could decide to do this on a Friday. The rules are the same. And she basically walks through a set of steps to set up what you're going to do during the week. And you could definitely use this in combination with an electronic calendar or a physical planner for the week to know what it is that you want to do. So I'm hoping that these tips help think about how you might want to set yourself up for success. Obviously all the other old adages that we've probably heard hold true: making your lunch the night before, figuring out, where you need to be, making sure you have gas in your tank, putting all those things in the car that you need if you're going somewhere. All those things are certainly true. But in terms of thinking about how you could set yourself up for some writing success, one of the things that has to be there is figuring out when you're going to do it and what else is going on that can prevent you from doing it. So I really like the idea of thinking through that planning element early in the week, if possible, to see where you can find some time. Finally, I just want to throw out one last thing. Let's say your Sunday and your Monday totally blew up and you never planned anything. A lot of people will just sort of give up on the week and think, I'll start fresh next Sunday or Monday. It's never too late to reset. I've done this lots of times where my week is going off the rails and it's Wednesday and I'm panicking because I felt like I haven't gotten any scholarly work done Monday or Tuesday. Not too late to reset. You just now have a short week. So that's the way that I try to think about it, where I just try to figure out what can I do on Thursday and Friday. Those are the 2 days I have. What is it I can do? And you can reset and plan in that way. So hopefully this tips help, and happy writing this week.